What is up, my fellow breastfeeding mothers? Hey guys, so today I'm filming a video all about breastfeeding. My tips and tricks and things that I learned, things I didn't know, what happens to your boobs, your girls, and my baby schedule. So let's get into it. First, I'm going to start off with my baby's breastfeeding schedule. So in the beginning, when they are first born, they are super sleepy and they need a schedule of eating every 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. And so you actually have to wake them up and put them on the boob and feed them. So that is the schedule in the beginning. So I would feed him about every 2 hours when I was in the hospital, and then it just went like that for a couple weeks, and then he started to spread out. And it was about every 3 hours, and then he went through growth spurt, and it was all the frickin' time. He was feeding so much, I couldn't, it was crazy. I would never give up breastfeeding, and I told myself from the beginning, I am sticking through it until he's a year old, no matter what. And that was a time that was really hard. I almost just wanted to stop because he was feeding constantly. When he wasn't feeding, he was fussy, and I couldn't hold him without him wanting to feed. It was crazy. But then things got better after a week of that, and he started spreading out, and then it went back to every 2 hours, and then it slowly became 3 hours. And then now I'm just feeding him whenever he shows signs of being hungry. So now I don't really have a schedule. When you're breastfeeding, you just listen to your baby. They're hungry when they're hungry, and they can't overfeed when they're breastfeeding. And even if they do, they'll spit it back up, they'll poop, it will come out somehow. So you can't overfeed when you're breastfeeding. They take in as much as they need. So now I just listen to him. If he shows signs of being hungry, or whether he's just not happy, he's kind of fussy, I will offer him the boob, and he just lets me know when he needs to eat. And you will, if you haven't already done this, everybody who has knows that you kind of get to know your baby, and you just know when they're hungry. And they might not even show hunger cues, but you just kind of know. I don't know how else to explain it, but it becomes second nature. Breastfeeding becomes second nature. If you're a new mom and you are at the point where I was really defeated and kind of just done with breastfeeding, it will get easier, I promise. It was really hard for me when he was constantly feeding, but it does get better. And even though it's hard, enjoy those moments, because they're not going to be that little and feeding for that long, and they're not going to need you like that ever again. So enjoy it even though it sucks. So now on to my tips. I took a breastfeeding class, which I really recommend if you're going to breastfeed. And I learned so much stuff that I didn't know, and just everything. Breastfeeding 101, it was amazing. And that's my first tip. Take a breastfeeding class. And then for another tip, don't wait until they cry to feed them. Crying is a late hunger cue, and you don't want to miss it. I mean, because once they're crying and you're trying to put them on and they're all mad and upset, it's really hard to breastfeed, and then you get frustrated. So I know all breastfeeding experts and consultants, or whatever they're called, say breastfeeding doesn't hurt unless you're doing it wrong. Well, it hurt for me, and I had someone look at it and say I was doing it right. Our lactation consultant looked at me feeding my baby and said I was doing it right. So I don't necessarily think that's true, but everyone is different. So for the hurts, because your nipples crack and bleed, of course it's gonna hurt. There's if your nipples are cracking and bleeding, I can't imagine it not hurting. So for that kind of stuff, I use lanolin. This is the kind that I got, lancinol. I don't know how to say that. It's just 100% lanolin, and this stuff is amazing. It's 100% natural, preservative free. You don't have to wipe it off before you feed your baby. In the beginning, the first couple weeks, I would just put this on my nipple. Woo, almost dropped that. I would just put this on every time after I fed, and it made a world of a difference. So this is amazing. I haven't tried any other brands. I didn't even finish using all of this up because I didn't need it any longer than the couple weeks. But go get this stuff if you are a new mom breastfeeding, or if you're pregnant and you're gonna breastfeed. This will save your life. And this is also the stuff they gave me in the hospital. They just gave me a little size of it, and it's a lifesaver. Okay, invest in a boppy. Boppies are amazing. If you're pregnant, go register for one. If you had a baby and you did not get a boppy, go get one because you're crazy. These are amazing. These are a lifesaver in the middle of the night when you're feeding your baby and you're half asleep. You're not, it just makes life so much easier. You don't have to use your extra strength that you don't have because you haven't been sleeping in 5 weeks. So this is, just go get one. That's all I can say. It's just amazing. So I don't pump often, but some moms have to go back to work, and some want to go out, or some parents want to go out for a date night, and that's the only time I pump, is when my husband and I are going for a date night. And I wanted to show you the brand of pump that I use that I really like. It's worked amazing for me. It's just, let's see, my friend gave this to me because breastfeeding didn't work out for her, and she wasn't using it anymore. So this is the Philips Avent, and it's old. It's older. I'm like a couple years old, and it just looks like a little bubble, and you just turn it on, plug it in, put the bottle on, all that. It's great. This works amazing for me. So if you want to try it, I'm sure there's a new version of this that works probably even better than this, but it works for me. I've heard of the Medela or something is amazing too. I haven't tried that. This one works for me. And then if you go out of town for a night, like my husband and I on our anniversary, we went for a night out and we spent the night at a hotel, and my mom watched the baby. So I took along a portable breast pump because that thing I was not lugging around, and it's pretty cool. This is not as great as that. So this is the Even Flow. I guess I would recommend it for a portable pump. I haven't tried it anymore, but like I said, it's not as great as that one. Some breastfed babies don't like to bottle feed because it's not the normal. It doesn't feel right, it's different, and my baby was one of them. So we tried the bottles that came with the Avent pump, but he didn't like those. So we tried this Mamo Lancinol. I don't know how to say that, but this is it. It's the same brand as the lanolin. This is the bottle that he took. We didn't have to try a ton of bottles before he liked one, so this was the one that he liked. So a few last tips on breastfeeding. Don't deprive yourself from food or anything while you are breastfeeding. I know we're all trying to get back to the size that we were before we had a baby, but hello, our bodies aren't just going to go right back. But it's really important to me to breastfeed, so I just try to get as much nutrients as I can. I just eat everything, basically. I don't eat a lot of just one thing, or I don't deprive myself, so I just basically eat everything. Everything in moderation. And I am back to my weight that I was before. Doesn't mean I'm in the shape that I was before though. So, and that's okay. And don't work out too hard. Don't push yourself too hard. You don't want your milk supply to deplete, I'm guessing, if you're watching this video, because you're probably going to be breastfeeding. So just, you know, walking, light exercising is great, and you are slowly going to get back to where you were before. It's okay. You just had a baby. Most of us have been there or will be there, so it's okay. And then drink a ton of water. Breastfeeding, it takes a lot out of you. I feel thirsty most of the time. So drink a ton of water. Just always have water or tea or something that you enjoy drinking that will get liquids in you. Just have it by you all the time. And then lastly, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Breastfeeding does become second nature after a while of doing it. I can't imagine feeding my baby any other way than breastfeeding now, just because I'm so used to it. So, and I have been feeding now for almost 5 months. He is going to be 5 months coming up this next week. So just enjoy the time that you have and don't put too much pressure on yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or you want me to elaborate on breast pumping or anything that you want me to elaborate on in this video, just tell me down below and leave me comments and subscribe if you like what you see. Bye guys!